I'm explaining to you tonight is that sleep is extremely important for everybody. My opponent supported her claim with 3 secondary claims. 1, that sleep helps repair and rejuvenate our bodies. 2, lack of sleep or sleep deprivation has serious health consequences. And 3, the amount of sleep that we get affects our performance in daily activities. Tonight I am here to refute that there is no doubt that sleep is important for everybody, but that there really isn't any controversy in that claim at all. I will support my claim by discussing the possibilities of reasoning and evidence flaws in her claim, and why it is unacceptable to say that it is controversial. My opponent's first claim is that sleep helps repair and rejuvenate our bodies by reducing stress and enhancing memory and learning. She supported that claim with evidence from a study conducted by experts from Beth Israel Hospital, located in Boston. The study consisted of 12 healthy young adults who were taught a finger tapping lesson and then tested after. The study concluded that they did much better being given the lesson in the evening and then tested the morning after. Although the study concluded positive results, it is problematic on many accounts. One being that the sample size is very small and it only focused on young adults. Another, my opponent never stated how long each person slept for and what everybody's learning level was. Without that information, it is hard to conclude that the results of the study can be generalized to include everybody, because everyone has different learning styles and sleeping habits. This brings me to my opponent's second claim. She stated that lack of sleep or sleep deprivation has serious health consequences. She focused on how lack of sleep contributes to weight gain as her main issue. She supported that claim with 2 authorities from the Sleep Disorder Center that stated how the lack of sleep disrupts our hormone levels, causing us to become more glucose intolerant and making us eat more because our bodies can't metabolize what we eat. While my opponent's second supporting claim is problematic, is that she fails to explain how hormones operate. She did state, however, that hormones do run on a 24-hour cycle, but she never went into detail on how hormones can tell what time it is. So because my opponent failed to explain how hormones function and whether or not lack of sleep means that we do not get the right amount of hours or that we sleep at the wrong time of the day, that causes our hormones to react the way it does. So based off what my opponent presented, it is not enough information for us to conclude that lack of sleep contributes to serious weight gain. My opponent's final claim is that lack of sleep can affect our daily activities. She supported that claim with the focus on driving and how many drivers fall asleep at the wheel because they become too drowsy. What she did not provide was the conditions in which the drivers were driving under, how little sleep they got, or what time of day the accidents were most likely to happen. Drowsiness can occur for many reasons, and according to the New York Times Health Guide, drowsiness does not only result due to lack of sleep, but can affect those who do get an adequate amount of sleep due to reasons such as excessive work hours, medication, medical conditions, and after eating the meal. So the information my opponent provided is unacceptable because we do not know the cause of drowsiness from each driver that suffered from a car crash to be sufficient enough to say that lack of sleep was the cause to their inability to drive. So in conclusion, there is no doubt that sleep is important for everybody, but the evidence that my opponent used was flawed from the use of generalization. So it is safe to diminish this claim as inadequate because there is really no controversy at all.
Well, it's a little confusing because it sounds like you're going to be arguing that there's no argument at all, so there's not any dispute. And then you go ahead and give us an argument on each of those individual points, which I thought was a little bit strange. I think the general idea that sleep is necessary, there's not really much dispute on, and we understand that. The question is, does lack of sleep produce the impact that is being suggested by the advocate on these particular points? That's where the dispute is, and then the question is are you going to be arguing on those points? And you basically have presses on the first couple of points. You basically say, well, we've got this study, but we don't know how much sleep there was in the study and how convincing it was. It's an okay question. It's a reasonable press to make, but it's not something that I think is going to be convincing in the long run to suggest that sleep had no impact on that particular point. The same thing is problematic on the second point. When you're talking about hormones and you say, well, how does the body know what time it is? You know what? It's got a clock in it, believe it or not. That would be my response. Just about everybody's body knows what time it is given their cycle. They don't know it precisely it's 10:30, but they do know time to go to sleep, time to wake up, time to go to the bathroom, time to eat. The body has its own internal clocks. You've asked an interesting question. I just gave you an interesting answer, and neither of them has any evidence whatsoever to them, and both of them are just equally believable. So I think you don't really get much with that particular press. The best argument that you had was on the last point, where you in essence suggest that people do drive drowsy, but the drowsiness is a result of different things. And you have some evidence on that point that suggests that it comes from medications or work situations or food that they've consumed or those sorts of issues. And then I think you combine that with a pretty good press that says, look, we don't know what the conditions of driving while drowsy were for all of those fatal accidents, so linking them to a lack of sleep, I think that's a good challenge on that argument, and it makes a lot more sense there. You need to project your voice a little bit more, just be a little bit more assertive in suggesting your point of view. All right, thank you very much.